Welcome back, Libromaniacs. Today I'm going to give the definitive answer to the question, the meme, 100 men versus one gorilla. I have some pretty good evidence that I think will support my case. Now, the reason why people think that 100 men could take on a gorilla, the reason why there's some people that think that, and a lot of people, it's not unreasonable to think that, but there's several misconceptions that most people don't realize. For example, you might look at a gorilla and say, okay, I don't know off the top of my head what a gorilla weighs. I could guess 300 to 400 pounds. And they're roughly our size. They're 6 feet tall. And you know, you would think maybe that's so you look at a guy like Brock Lesnar. You know, there's certain giant humans. You're like, well, you know, gorillas are 6 feet and they're jacked, but there's Brock Lesnar. You know, like that's a giant of a man, and look how athletic he is. He's a specimen, and he is a specimen. The gorilla's gonna wreck him though, because it's not the same muscle. So even though you're like, well, you know, someone like Brock Lesnar, you're like, that guy is a huge walking mass of muscle. He is, but it's not the same type of muscle. A gorilla, like people that work with these animals, like chimpanzees and gorillas, they'll tell you that a chimpanzee that might only weigh 120 pounds can lift weights that the strongest men can't budge. Like they say things like, you know, like if you put a 120 pound chimpanzee in a you know, boxing ring with Mike Tyson in his prime, you know, the chimp's gonna rip his arm off and beat him to death with it quickly. There's a power level, like it's not, I mean, it might be in the realm of 10, they're 10 times stronger than us. And this is easily demonstrated with dogs. Like 80-pound dogs kill, you know, 150, 200-pound people all the time. Animals have a different type of strength. Animal strength is different than human strength. And, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be in the same boat with Mike Tyson, the same boat with Brock Lesnar. They're all going to get their arms torn off and beaten to death with them. It's a different type of muscle. Animal muscle is way more powerful for whatever reason. And it's probably just our sedentary lifestyle of, you know, tens of thousands of years of agriculture where we don't need, our brains are our greatest weapon. We don't need to be physically strong. And we're not equipped with anything. We have no claws. We have no real power. We have no real teeth. Like our teeth are, you know, compared to a gorilla's teeth. You know, like who would you rather bite you? A gorilla, like those fangs in their incredibly powerful jaws, or, you know, any other person? A person, yeah, they're gonna take a big chunk out, but that gorilla bite's gonna be devastating. So we don't have claws, we don't have armor, we don't have teeth, we don't have, you know, we, like, eagles have claws, you know, predators have claws, you know, we carry our claws in a sheath. They're swords, they're knives, they're, you know, other weapons like that. So this translates directly to a situation involving a record. There's a recorded Yeti attack. It is now raining. I was like, what is that sound? And I can't believe it's picking up from that window. Anyways, so there was this Yeti attack, and like this regiment of soldiers were marching, 32 of them, and they were attacked by a Yeti. Now you might say, oh, the abominable snowman, oh, that doesn't exist, it's a myth. Well, if you're into cryptozoology, you know that the indigenous myths and legends about this creature and the fossil evidence of Neanderthals and what we know about the physiology of the Neanderthals, they all overlap. These Yeti sightings are most likely pockets of near extinct Neanderthals. And they're badasses. They're like human wolves. You know, like we would be a dog, they would be the wolf. And that's true also with brains. Wolves have bigger brains than dogs. We are domesticated. The Neanderthal is the wild version of us. They're hairy. They're super strong like a gorilla, strong like a chimpanzee. There's reports of them pulling saplings out of the ground, moving huge construction equipment, heavy construction equipment, either tipping it over or tossing the tires around that weigh tons in weight. The attacks with huge rocks, throwing huge tree trunks. They're constantly lifting and throwing weights around. They are incredibly powerful. There's reports of them killing animals and humans by way of swinging their bodies into trees or rocks and just bashing them. I cannot believe that. I went out of my way. I closed the window right by me, and like way down away from me, the window's this microphone is picking up all that sound. Anyways, so they're incredibly powerful, and there's this report of a Yeti attack, and we need the rain, by the way. We really need the rain. Thank goodness. In May 1957, I'm going to read this passage here. In May 1997, the Kathmandu Commoner, that's a newspaper, revealed that a snowman's head had been kept for 25 years in a remote village at Chilunka, 80 kilometers northeast of the capital. It was preserved to commemorate the bravery of the men who killed the beast. A quarter of a century ago, 32 Nepalese soldiers marching towards Kuti on the frontier of Tibet were attacked in the middle of the night by a Yeti, which killed 31 of them. The sole survivor gave the alarm, and a patrol of 10 men armed to the teeth were sent to the place. They found the monster there sleeping off its meal after eating several of its victims. 10 guns were fired at it at once, but a second salvo was needed to polish it off. The leader of the patrol kept the beast's head as a trophy. That's terrifying. And the one guy, you can imagine, like this is a regiment of soldiers. So after it had one by one killed all of these trained soldiers, the last guy ran to go get help. That's what you got to do. Like, had he that's what always the last man has to do. The last man doesn't ever want to turn tail, but if you're the last man, you have to go get your buddies to back up. So he ran to go get help, and 10 bullets, 10 rifles fired at it, and it still wasn't dead. Like, that's a force of nature. So I'm guessing a gorilla is going to do the same thing, and 100 men isn't going to make much difference. And if you look at the so one of my images for this video shows a gorilla drawing, a drawing of a gorilla surrounded by all these men in a circle. That if you count those men, and that's a shallow circle that a lot of guys can't easily fit around. Like it's only going to be too deep. You're going to have too deep of guys encircling a gorilla. That's not going to fare well. That's not the mass of men that you would need to subdue such a powerful creature. It's going to wreck those 100 guys, just like the Yeti wrecked 30. It would have wrecked them all. That other guy ran off. He was the last one to. He would have died had he faced that thing. But the last guy on the battlefield. You have to turn tail and go, retreat back to get reinforcements. So that's what he did, and they came back armed to the teeth, and they filled it full of bullets. That's how we win. You know what I mean? That's how we win. This is really comparable to, like, if a full-grown adult with some, martial arts background went into a kid's dojo. Like, do you think you could take 100 of them? Probably. Like. Now I'm not saying, kids that are, I mean little kids. Like a kid's dojo. Not like tweens. But even then, I guess probably 100. See, you just have to kind of calculate. You have to accurately calculate the size difference. And extrapolate for the animals having 10 times human strength, and their formidable teeth. Like that's gonna. Oh God, it would be so fast and so savage. It would be, they say, oh, the gorilla tires easily. Yeti was taking a nap after he took some time out to have a meal after he wrecked killed 31 men. That's insane. So yeah, that's only 1/3 of the way there for the gorilla. Like would the gorilla tire between, would the gorilla / Neanderthal tire in between, and they're going to be armed really quickly. And how I mean that is they're going to be armed with arms or thighs, legs, because they're going to pull limbs off of people. And now you've got a weapon. You can swing that bone into other people, like a baseball bat, kind of. Like it's gonna have a little flesher on it, so it's gonna absorb. Like it's not gonna be hard like wood, but the bone's hard. You're gonna get like it's gonna be. I really, 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 really believe that this is that had that been 100 men that the Yeti attacked, he might have killed them all. It's a very, very strong. It leans towards the realm of possibility that he would have killed them all, had he wanted to. I have a feeling, wow, the fact that they went all the way to 31, like you would think you would realize after a few minutes, you're like, okay, it must have been devastating. So yeah, I think that's the definitive answer. The Yeti attack on these soldiers, I think, demonstrates what a gorilla would do. And that's as close as we're going to get to a scientific test of the situation. The only difference would be, okay, we're talking 3 times as many people, or, a total of 100 instead of 30. So that's the only difference. We need more rain. Like, I'm glad the rain stopped for the video, but man, I can't believe it stopped already. Like, I haven't even, but we get 10 minutes of rain and we need, a couple hours. Come on, man. Come on, weather. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and that's all I got for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All right.